Hello there! For many years now, animated series have been turned into live-action properties. Why? Because they're a well-known name brand that already have a core fan base. Whether you peeve them off or not isn't really up for discussion. And among the bad nuggets of the bunch, there are some nice gems to be found here. So today, I'm going to be looking at those live-action adaptations of animated series that I have seen and find the worthwhile ones. So in a way, you can trace this phenomenon to Popeye, which, while mostly inspired by the comic strips, does take some inspiration from the Fleischer shorts. The first odd thing to notice here is the hiring of Robert Altman to direct this. As much as I really like MASH, The Player, and Nashville, Altman just seems like a very odd choice to direct this cartoony story, and it shows. Robin Williams and Shelley Duvall are perfectly cast here, but Altman's style of unscripted chaos seems out of place in this adaptation, and the songs are particularly unmemorable minus the famous Popeye theme. It's not bad, and it's kind of enjoyable in parts, but it doesn't leave much of an impression on me, though its status as a flop is confusing since it did pretty decently, making its budget back twice over.
So keep good behavior, that's your one lifesaver with Popeye the Sailor Man.
He's Popeye the Sailor Man. He's Popeye the Sailor
Chicken of the seas, yeah.
He's strong to the finish, 'cause he eats his spinach. He's Popeye the Sailor
There was a large absence of these adaptations on the big screen until Masters of the Universe was turned into a live-action film in 1987. It would have been hard to make a good film out of that series, as the animation is poor, the characters are zero-dimensional, and the action sequences are stale. Those three adjectives can pretty much describe the series' live-action film adaptation. The performances from everybody are horrible, including Frank Langella, who is given the unfortunate task of trying to act through some really bad makeup effects. The attempts at humor don't work, and the direction is beyond boring. The special effects are also bad, even by 1987 standards, and the characters have so little development or dimension to them that we don't care an ounce what happens to them. The score is nice, even when it blatantly copies from Superman's theme in the Imperial March, and the art direction in Eternier and Castle Grayskull are well put together, but that doesn't excuse the fact how flat and dull this film is, and not surprisingly, it bombed badly.
From a distant galaxy, they have come to Earth. Dolph Lundgren as He-Man, Frank Langella as Skeletor. Only they have the powers to be Masters of the Universe. Live the adventure.
Meanwhile, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles were brought to real life in 1990, in a film adaptation that brought elements from the animated series as well as the comic books. Utilizing costumes created by the Jim Henson Company, the filmmakers took great pains to bring the Eastman and Laird depiction of New York City to life, and they succeeded. However, let's be honest, the whole film is rather silly looking nowadays. It's easy to buy into pizza-eating mutant turtles in animation, but there's a lot more suspension of disbelief required in live action, and this doesn't quite cut it. It's hard to forget that these are giant turtle costumes, and the screenplay does make some odd decisions here and there. It's entertaining in a goofy kind of way, but it's hard to buy into the whole premise here. Due to its incredible success, though, film studios started to greenlight more live-action adaptations of animated series throughout the 1990s.
I love being a turtle!
One surprising producer behind a couple of mid-90s cartoon adaptations was Steven Spielberg. His first jump in the pool was with The Flintstones. The filmmakers took great care to make this a respectable adaptation of the classic long-running series by hiring mega fan Brian Levant to direct the film, getting the looks of the sets and the creatures just right, and hiring John Goodman to play the role of Fred Flintstone. Honestly, nobody could have played the role as well as Goodman, who perfectly embodies the part from both look and his general likability. Unfortunately, on the other end of the spectrum was Rosie O'Donnell as Betty Rubble, one of the worst casting decisions in the history of cinema. Simply put, she was wrong, all wrong for the part. The script also had its occasional share of problems, mainly the massive plot hole, the villain choosing the supposedly smartest quarry worker, even though he wants the most stupid caveman in the company. Might want to rethink your evil plan there, Cliff. Nonetheless, The Flintstones is just standard fare, and I'd rather watch this a million times than sit through that awful Viva Rock Vegas prequel again. Another Spielberg-produced adaptation was the highly enjoyable CASPER. With its impressive use of special effects and a touching screenplay by Sherry Stoner, this is the rare live-action CGI hybrid that works. It also helps that Christina Ricci brings the right amount of likability to Kathy, and need I mention James Horner's criminally underrated score. In the end, though, the filmmakers understood why Casper the Friendly Ghost is such a timeless character, and it's mainly because of his warmth, as wonderfully brought to life here. It's not perfect, but it's a gem of a picture I don't mind revisiting every so often. Sadly, Saban Entertainment decided to cash in by making two direct-to-video features, Casper: A Spirited Beginning and Casper Meets Wendy. Both complete another embarrassment with awfully unfunny screenplays, terrible special effects, and they might even have been responsible for killing Casper forever, no pun intended. The most notable accomplishments are ruining Steven Gutenberg's career forever and starting Hilary Duff's.
It's Casper, A Spirited Beginning.
Ooh, it's Mr. Scare Me Not.
And now, all the adventure.
No more supernatural stuff.
And all the magic.
What are you talking to, Space Cadet? Your imaginary pals?
Can be yours.
Yes!
Casper, A Spirited Beginning.
Another product of live-action adaptations in the late 90s was Disney, and the interesting thing here was that they adapted other people's animated series instead of their own. One of these was Mr. Magoo, starring the late great Leslie Nielsen as the nearsighted old man, and I'm embarrassed to admit I saw this mess when it first came out. The main problem here is that Mr. Magoo may work fine as a short, but stretched to feature length it outstays its welcome, and then they tie a lame-brained secret agent plot around it and it just gets tiresome. How this project was able to attract Nielsen, Ernie Hudson, Malcolm McDowell, and Jennifer Garner, I don't know. It's just terrible.
Ugliest child I've ever seen.
Disney's Mr. Magoo.
Freeze!
Inspector Gadget, on the other hand, is an absolute delight. Despite its occasional deviations from the animated series, those actually work to its advantage. Beginning with the rendition of the classic theme song, I was already right into the ride, and Matthew Broderick is very enjoyable as Gadget. Add in the funny script, the highly entertaining action sequences, and the film succeeds well at what it's trying to do. I'm not too fond of adding a voice to the Gadget reveal, and it does get occasionally over the top, and I certainly understand why it's not particularly well liked among others. But this is one of those childhood favorites I'll never get tired of.
On July 23rd, get ready for the only hero with gizmos up the wazoo. Disney's Inspector Gadget.
The 2003 direct-to-video sequel, on the other hand, I know it's closer to the animated series, but that certainly doesn't make it any better. Inspector Gadget 2 is an eyesore, and I hate it oh so very much.
Walt Disney Pictures presents an all-new motion picture. Inspect the unexpected.
Inspector Gadget.
Disney's Inspector Gadget 2. Get ready to Go-Go Gadget again, premiering only on Disney DVD and video.
Another trend of the late 90s started by Disney was taking Jay Ward properties and turning those into live-action films. George of the Jungle with Brendan Fraser was just stupid in my mind. Oh, Fraser gives it a game try, but the humor is just tired and the animatronic animals look, well, animatronic. Still, I admire its occasionally clever moments, particularly when the narrator pipes in with his thoughts, but overall I find this adaptation average at best. The new version of the theme song is pretty amazing though.
The King of the Jungle is falling in love.
George of the jungle, strong as he can be. Watch out for that tree. Watch out for that.
I give you the King of the Jungle.
Brendan Fraser played another Jay Ward creation in Dudley-Do-Right, and the final result was pretty dire with a whole bevy of lame jokes and a story that's just as aimless as the main character. It doesn't help that we have Sarah Jessica Parker miscast as Nell, then again she is miscast in everything she's ever been in. Really, the only enjoyable aspect here is Alfred Molina, who appears to be having a whole lot of fun as Snidely Whiplash.
Dudley-do-right.
Brendan Fraser, Sarah Jessica Parker,
Is something burning?
Alfred Molina, Dudley-do-right.
There was a lot more creativity to be found in the adventures of Rocky and Bullwinkle, which rather than doing a straight adaptation of the series, brought the duo into the real world, and the result was a noble effort. Robert De Niro, Jason Alexander, Rene Russo were perfectly cast as Fearless Leader, Boris, and Natasha, and a good number of the jokes hit their targets as it was willing to poke fun of itself, much in the same way the show did. Is it particularly good? Not necessarily, as Karen's Sympathy is a bit of a dull character, and the film doesn't become anything more than a gag fest. But I would be lying if I said I didn't enjoy myself while watching it.
You know how to drive, right? Footloose can't drive the automobile. Never said I could drive it well.
And the world will discover
Oh my god, it's Rocky and Bullwinkle!
this is not the same old bull.
I'm king of the world!
The Adventures of Rocky and Bullwinkle.
I'd like to use one of my lifelines, please.